Hiya, my name's Tracy Ford and I work for Sheffield City Council. I'd like to talk you through a survey we recently did with rough sleepers who were housed in the emergency accommodation over the COVID lockdown period. The conversations we had were important because what people told us will help shape the way we deliver services for rough sleepers in the future. It was important to involve people who have lived experience of homelessness, as they are the ones who will be able to help us make the services we offer better. Hearing their stories means that we can see how rough sleeping can affect all areas of a person's life. We spoke to people who used services during lockdown, and we also talked to people who didn't want to use our services. For those, we wanted to find out why. We knew that it'd be unrealistic to ask people to complete surveys online, so a group of volunteers went out into the community and spoke to residents who were in the emergency accommodation. We didn't give cash or vouchers to people who we talked to. We just sat and had conversations where people could open up about their experiences, which gave us a real opportunity to listen to them. We managed to do 28 surveys. Each took between half an hour to an hour to complete. We also had conversations with 10 people that were found on early morning outreach. 5 of those agreed that we could share their stories. These can be found in the full report. Over 100 rough sleepers were provided with emergency accommodation during lockdown. For some, being in emergency accommodation worked really well, but for others, not so well. Some things that worked well was people having their own space. They liked being treated like a resident of the hotel rather than a client. They liked having the meals provided. This gave them one less thing to think about, and having treatment services come to them rather than them having to venture out for it really helped. Some things that didn't work so well were when people had to share, particularly with others who were chaotic. Often arguments or disagreements broke out, causing tension. Other people said the accommodation was too far away from city centre, which prevented them from being able to beg or score drugs during this period. We asked what we could do differently to help people access services. The top 3 answers was 1, to open services in the evening, to make services open at the weekend, and to send appointment reminders. This is important because often their lives are chaotic and they easily forget. Another important thing that people told us was that it was important for them to speak to someone who doesn't just understand homelessness, but to be able to speak to somebody who is compassionate. We asked the people that we surveyed what they thought their strengths were. The top 2 scores were being able to converse with different people and that they were friendly and approachable. We asked people if they were in charge of our bank account, what would they spend it on? The biggest amount would be spent on getting a home, having access to help when needed, or even having their own dedicated key worker. There were other answers too, like getting help into volunteering or employment and help to develop some healthy coping strategies. It was nice. Everyone we spoke to were more than willing to share their experiences, and we're grateful that someone was actually asking questions, but more importantly, listening to them. Here are some of the things that people told us.
I get bored and lonely sometimes.
It was good when workers and services came to me, so I didn't have to get to them. When I was in the hotel during COVID-19, it was good that I got food provided.
I need to get away from situations that draw me back to my old ways.
I'm quite good at reading and writing, but I need help with computers.
I struggle with my mental health, and it doesn't help when I can't find the right words to say to get what I really mean out.
I'm not so good at managing my money for bills.
For partners, this wasn't a one-off consultation. It was important for all of us to be able to show people who participated how their voices have been used to influence the development of local services. The conversations that we had have been turned into a big report, which has been discussed at some very high level meetings, bringing together managers from all over the city. These are the recommendations from the report. To make services available during the weekends. To have different time slots for people who may have more complicated needs than others. To ensure that the voices of those who are using services are at the heart of decision making. To make sure there is more support available around managing anxiety and coping strategies. To make more use of volunteers. In Sheffield, we have so many people with lived experiences who can not only help us develop services, but they play a vital role in helping support those that use them. To ensure that more support is available around budgeting. And finally, more help's required for people to be able to access the internet, to help increase their confidence to manage their lives online. For example, dealing with benefits and online application forms. This consultation has been a conversation starter, and we've already identified people who use services or want to get more involved. We will work together with all service providers in Sheffield to make things better for those who find themselves vulnerable, homeless, or find themselves sleeping rough. If you would like to read the full report, it can be found on the Help Us Help website. You will also find helpful information about how you could get involved and make a difference, and learn more about the great work that goes on behind the scenes. Thanks for listening.